Hello, Nick. So this is the end of 1776. I think last time we left you, it was we had completed the early summer turn, so we completed the late summer and fall turns. Late summer, I think we ended. Washington's army was here. Howe's was here. The first three action pulses, they just kind of battled back and forth, trying to get an edge, but they just pretty much was just causing each other equal number of losses back and forth. Finally, Howe was able to push Washington's army out of Wilmington. Washington had to the militia that was part of his army had to retreat down here, and he went into here. And I believe Washington, yeah, the way I remember it, Washington had left the militia there and retreated out somewhere up over into Pennsylvania. Howe came in to Wilmington, and the militia was able to roll successfully without a leader to be able to retreat. So they retreated down into Lewes there. Schuyler's army, which was the Army of the North, came around out of Pennsylvania and set up shop here to cut Howe off. And there's a rule where if you're cut off during your enemy's action pulse, you have to reestablish it. I don't know if you totally disband at that point. I can't remember what the punishment is, but that could be, and can't allow that. But Howe was relatively easily able to push Schuyler out back across into Pennsylvania. And Schuyler, when he came down, he went through Washington's army. Washington gave him pretty much all of the colonials, since the militia wouldn't be able to go from this side to the other. So it was just all regulars trying to hold that, but they were pushed out. So Howe reestablished that at the end of that late summer turn. And then in the fall, Washington's army absorbed the Army of the North. And then we had the Battle of York right at the end of that fall turn. Other things that happened, let's see, who was it? I think it was Fraser. I think he took what troops were in here, marched up and joined them in with Howe, so Howe could be bulked up again. Clinton was here. I don't think you can see that. Yeah, Clinton was here, and he moved up, starting to put kind of a more broader front pressure on the colonials. And Washington ended up being here, had built an entrenchment just to try to any little advantage he could get on Howe. Nathaniel Greene had activated with this Tidewater militia to move up here to retake Wilmington. So that took Delaware. Well, I guess Delaware wasn't. Delaware was in the British hands. So at the very end, Howe we had a couple of the tie rolls on initiative. Both were at the very end, like during the very last impulse, so it didn't do anything but allow the players to draw a card. And Howe got a Stolen Secrets card, which is right here. So he was able to play that in his attack to give Washington a -2. Because, trying to overcome, the problem when there's these armies that are the same size, the defender, same size and have as many modifiers, positive modifiers, as these armies do, most likely you're going to end up, on the top top of the combat chart. Let's see. Yeah, so most likely, they're in the 15 to 20 range, and with all the modifiers, they're always going to end up on that 12 range. So they're always going to be 2 stars. So they're each going to take three casualties, and then the defender is going to get the tie, which ended up is what happened. But Washington got exactly the role, even with that stolen secrets, exactly the role he needed to push up to 12. Howe's army, of course, with all his modifiers, got 12. So again, it was 3 losses each side, but Howe was repulsed and ended the year with that demoralized status. So that's where we leave 1777, or 1776. The next turn is 77 winter turn. But I thought first I'd give a shout out to Christopher. He had contacted me, wondering if I'd be interested in taking a look at some play aids he had been working on a while back. I believe at the very beginning when I started this, I had shown some of the things I had gotten off BGG. There was a extended, move this up, extended sequence of play that somebody had made, and then also there was a for the leaders, which I think there was some errata on a ship that I missed. It was supposed to be removed, but it said add, but it was already there, and I was confused by it. But I don't know. So I think that might have helped me catch it. But Christopher sent me. So these are all individual sheets, but I just kind of printed them out on one big sheet, so I've already got a ton of paper around trying to organize this game in my mind. But kind of seems almost like the same kind of color coding as that expanded sequence of play. But I don't think Christopher did that. I think that was somebody else I looked. But this looks pretty handy. So like, for instance, so we'll be coming in here on the 1778. No, 1777. Why do I keep saying 1778? So, so it shows you the year, what season. So, kind of a reminder that, there's only 2 action rounds in the winter. That's good to remember. If you're in the northern region, you only have 2 movement points. And then at the end of the first winter action round, the boats have to go back. And at the start, okay, so that's 6 nations, and we haven't even had them come into play yet. Nobody's dared to go through their territory, and I don't think there's really any cards in the deck yet, but they'll be coming. A reminder that we're going to have colonial attrition for their enlistments, which that's kind of buried in the rules. Same with around the winter quartering section, which we're going to definitely have to take into effect during this turn, which we've got. So both the armies, I think everybody else is going to be fine, but both of these armies are over, definitely over 10. And for winter quartering, if you're on a key spot, that can support, that can support 10 SP. A circle, which is where Washington's army is at York, that can only support 5 SP. A coastal space, that's a circle, that supports 15. A coastal space that is a key, that supports 20. And then if there's a magazine on any space, that's an extra 5. So Washington right now, he's got 13, and this spot can only support 5. So he's going to definitely need to get spread out, unless he wants to undergo attrition. And Howe, who is on a key space, so that supports 10, but he is, 9, 15, he's got 19. So he's definitely got to get some guys out of there. Could have 9 move back here, or even make the run over here. That would secure Maryland for him. But Washington's going to have the trickier part to decide what he wants to do. Might just, I guess he could activate, go here, drop some off, or I mean, he could leave some here and then go there and probably be safe. But we'll figure that out when the time comes. But anyways, that little sidetrack there got me thinking about winter quartering. So here's something I totally, I don't even know if I know I read it, but I definitely would not be thinking of it. The British withdrawal. So a compulsory British withdrawal at no AP cost is triggered during the first winter turn prior to either player taking their action pulse following the Colonials achieving their first major victory. So a major victory is when you cause a force of 5 SP or greater to have to surrender, and we haven't. And they have to surrender if they have no retreat path. So if they're on the coast and they can't evacuate, or if you've got them surrounded and they've got no free space they can retreat to, they would have to surrender. We haven't had that yet, so this isn't going to apply to them. But I think in 1778 winter, that says the same thing, but I think 1778 turn, it has to occur. But we'll double check that when we get to it. And then magazines come off. So that is that. I thought that was kind of neat. I just share that. Christopher did say this was a while back that he was working on this, but he was thinking of getting back into it. But definitely would be beneficial from the start to go through each seasonal turn to make sure that you're remembering certain rules that are now in effect. So that is that. I think so. We've got the winter turn. Probably the main focus is to get these armies spread out enough so that they're not going to take any attrition, because we don't want to just give SP away for the coming year. Now, if that British withdrawal does auto trigger in 1778, which I think it does, they're in trouble. I think they have to, I don't know if it's like 12 SP they have to divert to, I don't know if it's the Caribbean. And if they can't do that, they automatically lose. And it has to be British SP. German doesn't count. And I was taking a lot of, I probably should have prioritized taking German losses. So they might have to be a little careful this turn or this year, so that they make sure they have enough to go away. Because I don't think, looking at the reinforcement chart, they don't really get much. So this will be an interesting year. I think they would sack me on the British side with the way I've been playing. I haven't really. Which in a lot of games I play, I don't really look ahead for what's going on. I just kind of go as I go, and things proceed as they do. But there we go. At some point, I don't know, I should probably point out, at some point during those last 2 turns, I'm pretty sure it was then, British used their loyalist chit to raise some loyalists from the Tidewater. So right now, so I guess the middle states they can raise, and then up in the New England states they can raise, and then they will be done. And for the colonial militia, it's just kind of states or colonies, I shouldn't say states, colonies that the British have taken over that then become uncontrolled. They would get a roll on the militia side. So like when Greene took that back, so then Delaware was it was uncontrolled then by the British. They got a roll here. Where's Delaware? So 2, but I think they actually rolled like a 1, so they got 0 out of it. And there's always a max. So like Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, they can have a max of 12 militia running around here. And so right now they've got 5. So they could raise, given the right circumstances, they could raise up to 7 more. But at the moment, I wonder, so they do control Virginia. And yeah, I think I did mark that. So British control Virginia. They don't control Maryland because Fort Cumberland is still uncontrolled. And we're sitting right now at the British are 6 political will, and the Colonials are 8. One card that the Brits had played against them was Pitt the Elder speaks against the war. So that moved the political marker for the British down 1. And that's where we sit. Apologize if you can hear the creaky chair. I looked previously if I could oil it somewhere, and there was nowhere I really saw that I could oil it that would help. And I don't know if I can get it, the mechanism to maybe screw things tighter. I just think that's the way it is. That's the I don't know, one of those things that people complain about on there, but that's how it is. I've been rambling long enough. Time to move on. I want to get into this winter turn and move on. Talk to you later. Quick addendum to the action that I spelled out when what's his name? When Schuler, I said cut off when Howe was in Wilmington. Howe wouldn't have been cut off because he had a supply source out to the sea, and I mean nobody was blockading, so Howe wouldn't have had to attack back. But at that moment, I was scared he had to, so that's what happened. But he wouldn't have had to. He could have just stayed where he was or do something different. Just to clarify.